I'm Natasha Kirchuk, and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. Coming up in today's newscast, the Islamic State claims responsibility for a rocket attack on Israel. For the first time in history, an Israeli prime minister makes an official visit to Australia. And beach bums, it turns out you won't have to wait out the winter to enjoy the seaside because Tel Aviv is offering a free vacation unlike anything you've ever heard of. Stay tuned for the latest news in Israel. The Islamic State has now officially claimed responsibility for a rocket attack on Israel that took place just yesterday. On Monday morning, 2 missiles were fired into an open field in southern Israel, but luckily they didn't cause any damage or injuries. The rockets were fired not very long after the jihadist group had accused Israel of killing 5 of its operatives in an airstrike over the weekend. The reported drone strike came just a day after the Islamic State fired 4 rockets into the Israeli resort city of Eilat. The terror organization has now posted photos on Twitter showing their jihadists preparing the most recent missiles for launch, claiming they fired the 2 rockets at, quote, southern Palestine in an online statement. The Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman has already dismissed the threat posed by the jihadist group, claiming that while the Islamic State is, quote, annoying, the group doesn't really have the means to pose a serious threat to the security of Israel. The jihadist group has been mainly focused on waging a war against the Egyptian army in the Sinai Peninsula, but has long used small-scale attacks against Israel to show off its credentials. It looks like the Islamic State is busy in other parts of the Middle East as well. An attack on Syrian rebel forces on Monday left security officials in a heightened state of alert because it's just been exposed that it was carried out by yet another Islamic State-affiliated group. ILTV's Aaron Porras joins me with more. Aaron.
Thank you for having me in, Natasha. Yeah, this attack has the governments of Syria, Lebanon, and Israel worried, not just because of the proximity to our borders, but to the fact that, at least for now, the attack seems to have been successful. Syrian opposition army defector Colonel Ismail Ayoub said yesterday that, quote, in a surprise attack, Islamic State made an attack on positions held by the Free Syrian Army, or FSA, groups, which no one expected to happen so fast, end quote. Indeed, on Monday, an Islamic State affiliate group launched the previously unclaimed attack on Syrian rebel forces near the Golan Heights. The newly captured territory is near the border where Israel, Lebanon, and Syria meet. The towns allegedly lost to ISIS include Tasil, Sahem el-Golan, Adwan, and Tel Jamusa, which are situated just under 7 miles, or 11 kilometers, from the northern Israeli border.
Now, there's a lot more going on in Syria. The Syrian pro-government media service Al-Masdar has just reported that Israeli aircraft were spotted in Syrian airspace conducting strikes against a Hezbollah-bound weapons convoy. Aaron, fill us in on the details.
All right, well, in typical fashion, of course, the Israeli military has declined to confirm, deny, or even really address the strike itself, but it's really quite believable that Israel would have acted preemptively in this way. It was just yesterday that Hezbollah made it very clear that they're planning for a future attack with Israel. According to a Syrian army source, the attack took place near the Lebanese border near Damascus and the Kalamun Mountains. No casualties have been reported at this time. The alleged Israeli warplane supposedly flew first through Lebanon to reach the target in Syria. IDF spokespersons would not comment on the strike. Israel has, however, both stated and acted on in the past that it would not allow Hezbollah to continue receiving advanced weaponry. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah just this past Tuesday said, quote, in the face of Israel's threats to destroy Lebanon's infrastructure, we will not abide by red lines, especially regarding Haifa's ammonia and the nuclear reactor in Dimona. Hezbollah possesses the full courage for this, end quote. Recent reports from earlier this week report the terror group leader's claims when Hezbollah had reportedly received Russian-made anti-ship missiles.
The President of the United States may not have stated a firm commitment to a 2-state solution, but the leaders of Egypt and Jordan are saying that when it comes to solving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a 2-state solution is non-negotiable. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and King Abdullah II have just joined for a meeting in Cairo to discuss ways to move forward with the Middle East peace conflict. Egypt and Jordan have already signed peace treaties with Israel, and both countries remain committed to a future Palestinian nation being created alongside the Jewish state. U.S. President Donald Trump recently stated that he will not be insisting on the implementation of a two-state solution and will, quote, be happy with whatever solution the Israelis and Palestinians decide together. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has not explicitly renounced his own commitment to a two-state solution, but he did choose to avoid Palestinian statehood during a joint press conference with the American leader. That very conference made waves throughout the international community, and the UN, EU, Arab League, along with many other nations, are strongly restating their support for a two-state solution as a result. On Monday, the Israeli Regional Cooperation Minister claimed that Netanyahu is in fact still committed to a future Palestinian state, but on Sunday, the Haaretz newspaper reported that the Israeli leader had in fact rejected a peace proposal back in 2016. That plan detailing a two-state solution was put together in a secret meeting between Netanyahu, former U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, the Egyptian president, and the Jordanian king. Do you remember the campaign promise of U.S. President Donald Trump to move the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem? Well, during last week's meeting between Trump and the Israeli Prime Minister, it became clear that Israel may need to wait a little longer than expected for that to happen. ILTV's Steve Leibowitz sat down with Jerusalem Post editor-in-chief Yaakov Katz to discuss the matter, and Katz says he's not surprised by the broken promise.
So I don't want to say I told you so, but I was one of the skeptics from the beginning about the possibility that the embassy would move. From just the very simple reason that it's one thing to make a campaign promise or a promise during a campaign, it's in a void, it's in a vacuum, you could say whatever you want, there's no price to pay. But then when you come into office and you get a phone call from King Abdullah in Jordan who says, Mr. President, I'm your last friend in the Middle East. I will have riots on the streets of Amman. We need to fight ISIS. I got hundreds of thousands of refugees from Syria. Why threaten me in that way? Then you get a call from King Salman, who calls up his buddy Rex Tillerson, who he knows from ExxonMobil deals, right, oil deals in the Middle East, and he says to Rex, "What are you doing? Like, what? You know, we got bigger fish to fry. We got to fight ISIS. We got Iran to confront, and they're on the rise in the region. Don't do this embassy thing." And then you get what's called realpolitik. You see, there's a real world out there, and what you say and do has real repercussions on a region like the Middle East, and therefore it was really no surprise that this thing has been delayed. It's a travesty, don't get me wrong. The American embassy, just like every other embassy of the world, should be in our capital, which is Jerusalem. But I don't think that it's going to happen anytime real soon. For the world, this would be a concession. It would be seen as giving something to Israel that Israel might not deserve at the moment. And therefore, I don't think it's going to happen anytime in the near future. This is a real unique opportunity to set down new rules of engagement, a new strategic relationship with the United States. You don't want to ruin that because of one outpost here or a home there. You want to create understandings and an alliance that will be able to weather any of the challenges that we face here in the region. And we can't forget, we still have Iran, which is on the rise. ISIS is out there. Hamas is arming itself in the Gaza Strip. Hezbollah just threatened Israel last week that they're going to hit the nuclear reactor in Dimona and cause devastation throughout the country. So we have major problems. The settlements is an issue, but that's not the big focus, or that shouldn't be the big focus for us.
Iranian leaders have long railed against Israel, with several even threatening to wipe the Jewish state off the map. The hardline Islamic Republic's supreme leader is continuing that tradition, with claims that Israel's beginning to disintegrate amid worldwide opposition to its policies. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's remarks come amid heightened tensions with the Jewish state, as Jerusalem continues to lobby its allies such as Washington to step up actions against Tehran.
با پدیدار شدن نشانه‌های افول رژیم صهیونیستی و ضعفی که بر متحدان اصلی آن به ویژه ایالات متحده آمریکا حاکم شده است، مشاهده می‌شود که اندک اندک فضای جهانی نیز به سمت مقابله با اقدامات خصمانه و غیرقانونی و غیر انسانی رژیم صهیونیستی میل می‌کند.
The fundamentalist Shiite cleric made the inflammatory statements during the 6th annual international conference his nation hosts on behalf of the Palestinians.
یکی از دستاوردهای این نشست ارزشمند مطرح کردن اولویت نخست جهان اسلام و آزادیخواهان جهان یعنی موضوع فلسطین و ایجاد فضای همدلی برای تحقق هدف والای حمایت از مردم فلسطین و مبارزات حق طلبانه و عدالت جویانه آنان است.
Khomeini went on at length to applaud the Palestinians for their heroic resistance against Israel. While utterly ignoring the Jewish people's ancient roots in the Holy Land, he dismissed Israel as being an artificial creation. The two-day event is being attended by nearly 700 delegates from 80 countries. Even though the trial and sentencing of Israeli soldier Elor Azaria has ended, it's clear that both legal issues and controversy will continue to swirl around the deeply dividing case for some time to come. A military court has sentenced Sergeant Elor Azaria to serve 18 months in prison after convicting him on manslaughter charges a month ago. He's been ordered to start serving that sentence on March 5th. The soldier shot and killed a Palestinian terrorist who was incapacitated while stabbing other Israeli troops in Hebron. Military judges overruled Azaria's justification the assailant still posed a danger and found him guilty of violating the Israeli army's code of ethics.
בית הדין העביר בהכרעת הדין וגם בגזר הדין שניתן היום מסר חשוב לכלל המפקדים והחיילים בצה"ל באשר לערכי צה"ל ולחשיבות השמירה על טוהר הנשק. ברור לנו שזה לא יום קל עבור הנאשם ובני משפחתו, אבל את הדין צריך לעשות והדין נעשה.
Judges gave Azaria less than the 20 years the offense permits due to his unblemished military record prior to the March 2016 shooting. Palestinian officials, however, call his victim Asharif an Arab martyr and say his extrajudicial death was deliberate. The fallen terrorist's family is denouncing the sentence as unjust.
الضباط الأعلى مرتبة منه لم يقدموا إلى هذه المحاكمة. في النتيجة تكون المحاكمة هي محاكمة مكتوبة من قبل الاحتلال الإسرائيلي كتمثيلية. أعد السيناريو والتأليف والإخراج الجانب الإسرائيلي. فما كعائلة ماذا توقعنا؟ توقعنا هذا الحكم البسيط ضد هذا الجندي.
Azaria's family is also lamenting the sentence because they don't think he should be in prison for neutralizing a terrorist who had only moments earlier tried to kill Israelis. That view is shared by nearly half of Israeli Jews who say any Palestinian attacker should be killed on the spot. While Azaria's little sister Eti wrote on Facebook that she's ashamed of her country for imposing the sentence, her parents showed greater signs of patriotism. The soldier's mother Oshra painted her nails with the national colors to spell out the words Mother's Hero, while his father led about 100 supporters outside the courtroom in singing the national anthem. Defense attorneys are now vowing to overturn their client's entire conviction.
אנחנו מערערים משום שמבחינתנו ההרשעה בעבירת הריגה יותר חמורה מאשר כל עונש שלא קיבל או היה מקבל. משום שהרשעה בעבירת הריגה, כפי שציין עורך הדין שפטל, אינה תואמת את העובדות שהוצגו בפני בית הדין.
Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman is underscoring the mitigating circumstances that prompted Azaria's actions and appears to favor a presidential or military pardon. That view is shared by much of the public as well as right-wing lawmakers.
כל יום שאלאור עזריה יושב מאחורי סורג ובריח הוא פשוט כתם שחור ומכוער לצבא הגנה לישראל, כתם שחור ומכוער למערכת המשפט. עצוב לי מאוד שהשופטים היום לא פקחו את עיניהם, לא הסתכלו על התמונה כולה ולא הבינו שהם צריכים להקשיב גם לרחשי הלב, גם למציאות הקשה וההתמודדות היומיומית של מדינת ישראל שנמצאת במלחמה מול אויב אכזר.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hasn't given any official statements during his overseas tour, but immediately after the soldier's arrest expressed sympathy to the Azaria family during a telephone conversation. Today, Benjamin Netanyahu became the first Israeli Prime Minister to ever make an official visit to Australia, where that nation's leader is offering his staunch support of the Jewish state, particularly by criticizing the United Nations. Netanyahu received a warm ceremonial welcome from Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, which included an honor guard and inspection of the troops. The two leaders then made a joint statement to the press.
I'm honored to be the first Israeli Prime Minister to officially visit Australia. God, it's been a long time coming. And it celebrates really 100 years of friendship of Australia to the Jewish people and their state.
I'm Natasha Kirchuk, and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. Coming up in today's newscast, the Islamic State claims responsibility for a rocket attack on Israel. For the first time in history, an Israeli Prime Minister makes an official visit to Australia. And beach bums, it turns out you won't have to wait out the winter to enjoy the seaside, because Tel Aviv is offering a free vacation unlike anything you've ever heard of. Stay tuned for the latest news in Israel. Minister Avigdor Lieberman has already dismissed the threat posed by the jihadist group, claiming that while the Islamic State is, quote, annoying, the group doesn't really have the means to pose a serious threat to the security of Israel. The jihadist group has been mainly focused on waging a war against the Egyptian army in the Sinai Peninsula, but has long used small-scale attacks against Israel to show off its credentials. It looks like the Islamic State is busy in other parts of the Middle East as well. An attack on Syrian rebel forces on Monday left security officials in a heightened state of alert because it's just been exposed that it was carried out by yet another Islamic State-affiliated group. ILTV's Aaron Porras joins me with more. Aaron.
Thank you for having me in, Natasha. Yeah, this attack has the governments of Syria, Lebanon.
Going on in Syria, the Syrian pro-government media service Al-Masdar has just reported that Israeli aircraft were spotted in Syrian airspace conducting strikes against a Hezbollah-bound weapons convoy. Aaron, fill us in on the details.
All right, well, in typical fashion, of course, the Israeli military has declined to confirm, deny, or even really address the strike itself, but it's really quite believable that Israel would have acted preemptively in this way. It was just yesterday that Hezbollah made it very clear that they're planning for a future attack with Israel. According to a Syrian army source, the attack took place near the Lebanese border near Damascus and the Kalamun Mountains. No casualties have been reported at this time. The alleged Israeli warplane supposedly flew first through Lebanon to reach the target in Syria. IDF spokesman and Israel worried, not just because of the proximity to our borders, but to the fact that, at least for now, the attack seems to have been successful. Syrian opposition army defector Colonel Ismail Ayoub said yesterday that, quote, in a surprise attack, Islamic State made an attack on positions held by the Free Syrian Army, or FSA, groups, which no one expected to happen so fast, end quote. Indeed, on Monday, an Islamic State affiliate group launched the previously unclaimed attack on Syrian rebel forces near the Golan Heights. The newly captured territory is near the border where Israel, Lebanon, and Syria meet. The towns allegedly lost to ISIS include Tasil, Sahem el-Golan, Adwan, and Tel Jamusa, which are situated just under 7 miles, or 11 kilometers, from the northern Israeli border.
Now, there's a lot more. The Islamic State has now officially claimed responsibility for a rocket attack on Israel that took place just yesterday. On Monday morning, 2 missiles were fired into an open field in southern Israel, but luckily they didn't cause any damage or injuries. The rockets were fired not very long after the jihadist group had accused Israel of killing 5 of its operatives in an airstrike over the weekend. The reported drone strike came just a day after the Islamic State fired 4 rockets into the Israeli resort city of Eilat. The terror organization has now posted photos on Twitter showing their jihadists preparing the most recent missiles for launch, claiming they fired the 2 rockets at, quote, southern Palestine in an online statement. The Israeli Defense Ministry